Good morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Joe Scarice, your founder and host of the Creative Bird Strategy podcast and Creative Bird Strategies House here on Clubhouse. So, we're going to get ourselves set up here in the next few minutes. We're going to have another great discussion of education, networking, and hopefully strategy for real estate professionals throughout the country. So, I'll get myself set up here. I just posted our podcast link, our website, so you could always find all of our episodes there on our website as well as on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all the social media buckets of online, virtual. We're on Audible. We're on Apple. We're on Amazon, Spotify. We're here to really be a little different than the rest. We don't have to be the biggest, but I want to be the best. And that's what our goal here is in the Creative Birth Strategies House. We've been around a couple years, a little over 2 years now through Clubhouse, 2, 3 years. And it's what a growth that has come from being part of Clubhouse. I want to thank them personally always. We have sponsors. We're the only room here that has migrated into having a domain site customized to our name. We're the only group, the only club that has national events throughout the country for their engaged listeners and followers. We've been in LA, we've been in Denver, we've been in Dallas, Fort Lauderdale, New York, Philadelphia. We're going to keep that going. We're the only one that has a podcast where we offer and extend social media video work with any of our engaged listeners. If they need a half hour interview to promote who you are, what your why is for your business, we're here to provide that to you. We also provide worksheets to be a better real estate investor and maybe provide those worksheets to your clients as well. And we're now offering something extremely unique. We have a 3 credit CE course that's accredited in every state in the country for 3 credits for licensed real estate agents to learn and understand and navigate asset-based lending for their business in the lending landscape, understanding it, applying it, working with their clients on it, being more proficient with it. And now today we have a special guest. Joe Martell is actually handling another podcast right now. So he can't, he's handling the SJI podcast because the gentleman that runs it couldn't be in there. So Joe's handling that for the next bit. He might be able to jump in. So I helped him out a little bit this morning, a little earlier. But I have Yordell Perkins of Perkatech, who's one of our sponsors. And as I call him so kindly, the Oz behind the drape, in orchestrating all of this. I met Yordell through an event that I held for years, um, you know, 10 years ago or so. We've become not just business associates, friends, and partners in so many different ventures. And some work, some don't work. We just keep moving on, moving forward. We have another 3 other sponsors I want to thank. Always MB Capital, my referral partner program with them, where we offer unsecured business lines of credit to our business to business or real estate professionals out there through the LLC. We have also Realty 411, Linda Pelagas. I want to pay our respects and take a minute here to just pray for her. Her mother recently just passed away. She's taken some time to celebrate her life, and we feel for Linda. I've been there already, and very sorry for her loss. But what a sweet woman to have in our repertoire of experts and strategists in our space. And then Lendmark Capital, who I represent, which is one of the larger asset-based lenders in the lending space nationwide. We're direct private lenders. We provide long and short-term money, construction, 30-year fixed money, multifamily money, single family through 4 family money, new construction strategy. We try to build that whole piece out for you to kind of help you really scale. Okay, whether you're a newer investor, you just started out of the gate, or you're the investor that has 10 properties, the client that has 50 properties, we evaluate how to scale. So Yordell, this morning we have a really interesting subject. I always like to tackle ones that, maybe it's a jump over the fence, but why don't you give a brief introduction to yourself and who you are, and when you think of mastering social media as a real estate professional, real estate investor, what strikes a chord with you first?
Can anyone hear me?
Yes. And then what we'll do is after Yardell gives a brief introduction, because we'll go into the subject. I'll give a market update, etc. as well. Go right ahead, Yardell.
Well, thanks for having me in this morning. My name is Yardell Perkins. My company is Perkatech, where we shape and empower United Voices. And my goal is to help organizations build and rebuild their digital presences and platforms. The half joke I like to tell people is that we did not choose the real estate niche. The real estate niche chose us. Because just as Joe mentioned, when I first set out on my own, like the next day that I left the job, I went to one of his events. I started going to more of his events, and we just started talking. And he allowed me to help him with his assets. He liked my work so much that he allowed me to come into his rooms and his network with other individuals like yourselves. So I very quickly learned about the specific needs of people in the real estate space. So as far as what I think social media means to realtors is really the social part, because the way the markets are and how there's so many people in the space as is, you really need to have some way to not necessarily set yourself apart, but to just be able to get your name and your office out there to tell people, hey, I'm here, I'm ready to help you, I'm looking to have conversations. And as I'll get into a little bit later, the social media part of that is more social than media. And I'll just leave it at that for now.
Yeah, there has to be a consistency, is what I'm telling you. And I think for me, and I think I scare Yardell sometimes, it's the consistency and continuity of social media. You have to be in it every day. It's not something you go back to. Hey, I've been off of the internet for the last 3 days. No, no, no. You need to feed that bird feeder every day. So let's first go into the market and talk about the market this week. Okay. Very interesting market in regards to volatility. Inflation's not going away. Okay. We leveled off at about 7.45 on the base rate for the conventional side. How that reflects on the commercial side, our base rate moved up about a quarter point, went from 6.75. Rates are starting now at 7% on the 1 through 4 investment. On the commercial multifamily 5 through 25 units, we're probably somewhere about 7.5% on 30-year fixed money and above. And I still don't think that's bad, because the average industry rate over the last 40 years, again, has been 7%. So I think we're right in that heap. The problem is inventory is getting a little stagnant. Most of the investment space environment is off market. Realtors are starving to death because they just don't know how to grab onto the investor base, because there's so much money being poured by these wholesalers and off market players. Nobody's training the realtor to work the off market opportunities via social media, and everybody else but them are light years ahead. They have VA services. They have social media pages, squeeze pages, AdWords. They're pumping thousands of dollars in a month. And they're the ones that are feeding now the realtors the opportunities for their clients, because a lot of stuff's just not hitting the MLS. But the MLS is starting to get a little thick with some opportunities as well, again, depending on what market you're in. But rates did level off around 7.45 on a base rate there. Personal savings rate falls to about 3.2%. So again, cost of living isn't going up, and survival is kind of getting tighter. So you got to really keep an eye on it. Rising costs are affecting home affordability. So that was another article that really kind of caught my eye. Housing supply surges about 50% in metro areas, and many sellers are forced to slash their prices. So based on crime and what's going on with the illegal immigrants coming into all these cities and not controlling the border, it's now impacting the urban settings, where most of these cities are turning into rental markets. People are just trying to get the hell out of Dodge. Okay. You know, let's be honest, gun sales are at all-time high in most suburban markets of every metro city in the country. So it's something to watch. It'll be very interesting as we go into the presidential voting election this year, where we end up. from a safety perspective in the urban settings, we have Yardell and I have offices in Center City, actually in South Philadelphia, and I'd be a little concerned myself to go in there at time to time. I mean, I feel safe, but I still keep my eyes wide open. And but again, I think a lot of people from a living perspective, from an education perspective, and from a safety perspective, and the police are overwhelmed. I think you're going to see the suburban and rural settings do extremely well. There's still a steadiness in acquisition in the suburban corridors of all the metro cities, but now you have a very heated competition by your investor going up against a home buyer on a lot of these Class B, B plus markets, because the rental market is very, very solid still in those markets. But I also posted a couple the article on this subject today on my LinkedIn and via Facebook. But I want to thank anybody that looked at my more recent article, that was on how it has build to rent impacted the housing rental market. It has gone viral. I'm currently over 18,000 impressions on LinkedIn. I want to thank everybody for that. I don't know how it went viral like that. I didn't think it was that. It was good. I thought it was a good article. It was a 2-minute read, but it has gone viral. My company even saw this and called me and like, what did you write that is so impressionable? I'm like, I don't know. But I wrote an article. But what that has done, my viewership on LinkedIn alone has skyrocketed. It's like at 300%. So it takes the consistency, the branding of education, insight, and strategy to work as a real estate professional or as a real estate investor. And that's social media. It's not talking about how you stubbed your toe or how somebody upset you or how you're upset or how you feel. I have to tell you, nobody cares except your immediate circle off of Facebook or off of LinkedIn. People want to see what is your why and who you are and what you represent in a consistent manner. I'll give you a great example. And it was under not the greatest of circumstances. It was a funeral for my last uncle recently who passed away. Brilliant general contractor, master craftsman. And I made sure I got up to pay my respects because I always appreciated his intelligence and his humor and his care to his family and surrounding relatives. And I went to pay my respects to his wife and his children. And irony enough, I don't see it. They're his children. We're all relevant in age, but we never were close. But I paid my condolences to his wife of 67 years. And then I met his oldest and paid my condolences to his daughter. And she introduces me to her partner and says, "Hey, hun, this is the guy that puts out the beautiful quotes every morning. This is my cousin that puts out those quotes that I always tell you about, that I always like. And he always puts out some great articles." So we're talking. I mean, there's her father just passed away, and I'm paying my respects. But I'm remembered as that guy that's giving education and insight on a daily basis. I mean, it was a moment there that I was like, wow. I mean, that kind of impact with a cousin I'm not very close to, where we're almost basically strangers in a sense, and that's what she remembers me by. Or when I walk into an event and people are like, "Hey, I just saw that article you wrote. That struck a chord with me." So I think mastering social media. You're never mastering social media. You're working on it in a consistent manner every day, and I think video content dominance still remains the king of social media. Meaning, we're here on a podcast every Saturday morning, every Sunday morning, giving 60 minutes of content live streaming events. So Yardell and I will live stream an event here and there. Not a lot. We don't want to overwhelm people. We also, community building. Like wherever you're mastering your craft as a real estate professional, are you recognizing the community impact? Like I give you an example. Today I'm going to a fundraiser that a real estate agent is putting on that He's got a bunch of sponsors, but he's also extending it out to his circle of influence. I'm going to go down and pay my respects and donate toward the event. It's a barbecue at 2 o'clock this afternoon. I mean, it's a very. I'm not going to go there and be handing out my business cards like a madman. It's not a networking event such as that. It's a meet and greet and building character. Being part of the fabric. Being part of some of the local community activities and taking pictures of them and recognizing them and sharing their information and sharing their insight, showing a different part of you to your public people that are seeing you. Personal branding, establishing yourself as a trusted authority in the real estate industry by consistently sharing valuable insights and tips and market updates. Showcase your expertise through thought leadership content such as blogs, posts, podcasts, or LinkedIn articles. If you need help, we'll walk you through it. It's not that complicated. Targeting advertising, like Yordell and I are going to start targeting advertising, in May. Like we really haven't taken the bull by the horns in regards to target advertising for the podcast. We really wanted to get stabilized in what we're doing. We're at 30 plus episodes. We've had a couple interviews. We have our website down pat. We have everything down pat. Now we're going to focus in some advertising. We're going to start off with Facebook ads, I think. Then we're going to go to Instagram ads, and then we're going to go to LinkedIn ads. But I'm not going to do them all at the same time because I will not be able to differentiate where my dollars are making the most sense. So I'm going to do a 2-month campaign with Facebook or a 1-month campaign. Give it a breather. Let the wine breathe. Then see what comes from it. Then we'll do another campaign with Instagram. Do it for 30 days. See what comes from it. Do it one with LinkedIn. See what comes of it. Maybe we'll do one on Twitter. See what comes of it. One on YouTube. We'll experiment. We'll rotate. We'll see where the most impact comes from the advertising. So that's where you have to discuss and break down with a social media strategist. Where is your strike zone in what you're doing as a real estate professional, and how it's going to impact your lead generation, your inbound lead inquiry. So Yordell and I did something over the last quarter. We do very strategic email blasting now per subject, and the open rate has increased 35%. Our open average rate on our blasts now are somewhere between 60 and 70%. The national average is 31%. Because we're not putting all kinds of things in the email blast. We're very target marketing to what the subject matter is at hand. Yordell, good morning and welcome. Some additional insight from what I discussed in mastering social media as a real estate professional strategies in 2024, and then we'll go to our other moderators.
Good morning, Joe. Does this sound a little bit better?
Yes, excellent.
All right, great. So, yeah, I just wanted to piggyback a bit off of what you said as far as when the realtors want to find their strike zone. That goes a bit into the social media when, if someone starts off with nothing, as is what most of my clients are, and they want a presence, one of the questions they ask is, well, and this is something you and I have talked about extensively about, Joe, well, what social media platforms do they go on? And yeah, there are a handful of ones that are solid and will pretty much help anybody, no matter what you're trying to do. But one of the first questions I ask when this question is put in front of me is, well, who's your top lead look like? Like, imagine what that individual looks like, and then try to figure out what social medias they're going to be on. Because there are people in your realtor space, depending on what they're looking for and who they are, they may be on Facebook more than they're on Instagram. Or there may be some who may be on LinkedIn and just not on all the others. So that's where I just wanted to piggyback and start with that.
Thank you, Yordell. And this is something that you need to, this is something really number one, biggest thing that you need to think about here is prioritize reputation over reach. Prioritize reputation over reach. The key to successful social media marketing is to build meaningful connections with people in your farm area who want to buy or sell real estate, right? That's your target, right? So reputation over reach. We'll go to the ladies first, of course, the roses amongst the thorns. Good morning, Melissa, and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, mastering social media as a real estate professional.
Hey, good morning, Clubhouse. Thanks for having me up, Joe. I had to hop on this one because it is kind of near and dear to my heart. My name is Melissa King. I run One Last I LLC, virtual assistant here in West Michigan. I'm a realty, bookkeeping, and admin professional, also a licensed referral agent in Michigan, and a notary. So I do a lot of different things for my clients, and they are all in the real estate industry. And kind of like Yardell was saying early on, I was an admin assistant. That's what I went to school for, business school. And I kind of fell into real estate, didn't really seek it out. I fell into real estate when I started working for a commercial property management company in Lansing, Michigan. And I got my real estate license there. And that's kind of just evolved to what I am today. And I'm running my own virtual assistant business since 2009. And marketing is so important for everybody. And that last one you hit on, Joe, reputation over reach. I wouldn't say just social media. I would say all marketing. You want to do your reputation over reach, because if I hadn't run myself as an integrous person this whole time, especially doing bookkeeping, I would not have the clients and the long-term clients that I have today. So, and yes, be consistent. You do a lot more than I do, Joe, but I am only posting twice a week. My two favorites I focus on are Facebook and LinkedIn. And I'm even surprised by, the impressions I get. I reposted your information about Joe's morning shows, and I got 17 impressions, and imagine what I could be doing if I did a lot more. But I don't have the bandwidth in my business right now, so I'm kind of leveling up a little bit at a time, because I want to be able to deliver to my clients and keep that reputation that I have. And the last thing I want to remind everybody is, when you're on there, be relatable. Especially like Joe is, all of us here, just be relatable so that people can trust you. I mean, that's the best way to grow any business. That's all I got, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. And you touched on something that really caught my ear, because I'm a networker as well. So I'm more attracted to a mastermind room of real estate investor group meetings of 25 to 100 people. Why? I want to get there a half hour early, because being early is on time, and being on time is late. Okay. And I go in there and I appear, at least to a lot of people as they're coming in, as the host, one of the hosts. I'm not. I want to be there and welcoming people, and then introducing to them to others, getting their information. But the key is to follow up and follow through with those individuals. Every single person I get a card from, or get their click card or their online information, they get a follow-up email within 24 hours while the skillet is still hot. Every single one of them, I try to find and identify and click and connect with them on LinkedIn and thank them for their time. And if there was something niche-y, I reference that in either the email and the LinkedIn connection request. I also put them in my drip campaign. Yardell and I put them in our drip campaign. So, and then I also connect with them, or at least request to connect with them through Alignable right away. Boom. Now, if there's nothing going on right that very second with them, they're at least in my capture environment in the future. I'm going to give you a great example. I went to an event a year ago in New York City and met some gentlemen there at a networking event breakfast. I'm refinancing two of his buildings for $1 million a piece loan amount each a year later. A year later, it took a year, but we were consistent with one another. He gets my emails, and he's just ready to go today. So writing scroll stopping hooks when you're putting education information out in front of people after you connect with them is extremely important. Focusing on a story and bullet pointing the information down. So, like, I give an example. LinkedIn always asks me to give insight to a subject. They get one on every single request. Focus on the story, but break it down into bullet points. Okay. People like to read a small little story, give them enough breadcrumb where they feel compelled to do either a comment back, a private inquiry back to you, or even a phone call or email, and make your information on your social media buckets visible. Phone number, email. It's so amazing how so many real estate professionals, you can't find their contact information anywhere on their sites. It's like, where are you? Like, how do I call you? And embrace the cringe. People get uncomfortable about marketing online. Just post something. So post something about a restaurant in your area. Post something about a coffee shop in your area. Post something. Listen, it's either good or bad news. Hey, like this past week, a massive bank just took a shit in South Jersey, which I saw it coming anyway a couple years ago. You got to talk about that. How is that going to impact and ripple the market? Right? You got to talk about that. Is there opportunities or is there disadvantages? And then get some people to chatter. And if somebody gives insight to whatever you're writing and they took the time to make comment, you damn well go back in there and reply back to them in a kind and courteous way. And optimizing your profile for conversations is key. Creating content every single day. Every single morning between 7 a.m. and 8 o'clock, a inspirational quote or some type of something thought leading quote goes out through all my social media platform every day. That's it, every day. And there's one young lady that responds every morning and wishes me a good morning. And every morning I reply back to her good morning. Because I have to identify the respect level, because I might have to run into that young lady somewhere at an event. I want it to be welcoming. I want to give her a hug. Like there's a virtual relationship there. I just want to give her a hug and say, hey, thank you for recognizing that. Creating a content calendar. Put responsibilities on a calendar. There's nothing wrong with having a calendar book. Yardell knows I have a calendar book that I bring with me. I just don't have it all on my phone. And hiding behind your real estate, like if you're a broker or a service provider, don't hide behind your company. Get in front of it. Be the leader in the company in the social media landscape. I want to be the bull in the china shop always. And then avoiding posting a variety of content. So I'll give you a little funny thing. Tomorrow I started yesterday, but I'll be putting together my crab gravy, which I do twice a year. Yardell will get to experience that again. I will post the crab gravy, and I will get inquiries from people about the crab gravy, about other things. Okay. And guess what? I actually get loan inquiries about it or strategy discussions on real estate. You would think, how the heck that happens? But it happens. Also, there's a video out there that's still streaming around here and there. If you could catch it, when I was much heavier, about 390 pounds at the time, where I raced somebody in a running race. It's gotten over 60,000 views over the past 5 years, maybe 70,000 views, where I beat this guy in a 40-yard dash where I was like way overweight, but I beat him on it was really funny, but I got inquiries about it. It wasn't about real estate education. It was about beating somebody in that landscape. Good morning, Steph. Welcome. It's been a brief moment. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, mastering social media as a real estate professional.
Good morning, Joe. It's Saturday morning, so I have my little business partners around, and they are ridiculously unprofessional. So y'all might just have to deal with that.
That's all good.
It is good to see you. I just wanted to come in and tell you that I always open your emails, always, because even if your emails are so helpful, you'll give a little tidbit, whether they're from Lenmark or whether they're from you personally. You give a little tidbit about something that's useful. Like one thing that you update a lot on is the rates that you're seeing in the industry right now, which is so helpful. I rely on those emails to report to my clients what's going on out there. The other thing that's really cool about your emails is even if you're doing an event that I know I'm not going to be able to go to, I want to see who is listed in your group.
I like that. I like that. You know,
You're including.
Steph, because you're in the commercial investment space, I offer this to anybody. If you have a hot deal, you got to remember my database and my presence is national. Okay. If you have that good a deal, a landlord doesn't have boundaries. So the out-of-state landlord doesn't have boundaries. That's why they're an out-of-state landlord. If you need something to be exclusively posted out to my database, I extend that to anybody. As long as the deal makes sense, it's an opportunity. And I don't charge for that. I'll just, send me the JPEG, send me an email linked and a little write-up on it, make it look nice, and send it to myself, and we'll post it out there as a blast. We control our CRM. I wouldn't mind featuring, a real estate professional here or there for opportunities throughout the country. That's an automatic. Or if you provide a very unique service that's national, email me, send me your write-up, send me your JPEG logo or whatever the art, the advertising. We'll put it out there for you. Sharing others' information also is very important. Recognizing potential individuals that are in your power team is very, very important in social media marketing and platforms. And and those platforms rank that and take that in consideration to being seen and being a giver and not just a taker. So I want to make sure everybody understands. I'm offering that to anybody that's listening in. Hold me accountable to that. If I could help push an opportunity out on your behalf, I'm going to first review it, of course. I'm going to vet you, of course, as well, because I'm just not going to put something out that could put me in a circumstance. But if it makes sense and it's done with integrity, I will, obviously. But and don't get me wrong, I am going to check out your social media buckets as well. There's certain people that, they want to work with me, and then I look at some of the stuff and comments they make on Facebook or LinkedIn. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be in the same stable as these guys or gals. It makes me concerned because they're getting way too in the personal space on their social media channels that their professional circles are looking at. And if it doesn't match up with me, I now get tagged with them. And I'm not all about that. I also don't appreciate individuals that tag me without at least knowing who I am and having a conversation with me. They just tag me. Okay. I had somebody that was part of some chamber up in North Jersey. I don't know who he is. Never met him, never had a conversation with him. If I walked by him, I wouldn't know him if it hit me in the head, right? But he felt compelled to keep tagging me for his events. So I called him. I said, listen, do I know you? He's like, no, but I see you have a lot of people on your page. So you just felt compelled without knowing me. You don't know anything about me. You don't know what I do, but you felt compelled because I have 5,000 people or 7,000 followers on my Facebook. You felt compelled to tag me. He goes, yeah. I said, you'll never be able to do that again. You're now blocked. You don't even want to take the time to know who I am. You don't even know what I do. So you're now blocked. Is that okay? He's like, no. I said, well, then are you going to take me out to coffee or we're going to have a video Zoom call? Because I'm very straight to the point. If anybody's ever met me, I'm extremely direct. Okay, I thank my mother and my father for that. Because you know what? You peel the Band-Aid off, you eat the frog, swallow the frog, get it out of the way. It works out a lot better. I should have been like this years ago, but I am like this now. And, and things then blossomed. Now he understands who I am. I understand what he does. He's now unblocked. I said, listen, you can't tag me all the time, but you can recognize it once a week. Okay. Is that fair to say? He goes, okay. I said, you just can't abuse my presence without asking. You just can't do that. It just doesn't jive with me because I've never made any money with you. I've never collaborated or referred, introduced anybody with you. So like, where's the passion of partnership in that? So social media is also a partnership with a lot of people. So you need to think about it right now in your mind today. Who is your power team? So there's 10 people in your power team or 6 people in your, you should be able to name those people off. Why haven't you recognized each one of them in your social media platform in the last 60 days? Or why haven't you collaborated on something with them in the last 60 days on one of your social media buckets? It could have been anyone, a video, it could be a blog, it could be a share. Shame on you. Shame on you. Every week I extend to anybody here. I don't even know who's on in bottom here because I got a couple things going on with the video, the audio. I offer to you, if you have something that you want to put together, get it out in front of people, and it doesn't conflict with me and my whatever, and I vet you and make sure everything's good, why wouldn't I put out an email blast on your behalf? You take the time to listen and be engaged with me here every Saturday morning, every Sunday morning. Why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I do a video interview with you on our podcast? If you take the time to reach out to me and send me 8 to 10 questions, send me your logo, send me everything, why wouldn't I feel compelled to help you or assist you? What? It's 30 minutes out of my time. Listen, busy people return all emails, phone calls, and texts. People that say they're busy don't get back to you. Okay? There's a lot of people that are busy and they don't make a lot of money. And there's also people that are busy that make a lot of money. And when there is chaos, there is opportunities. So let's talk about some of the social marketing platforms for real estate investors that I think obviously make a lot of sense. And you're probably going to think I'm going to say number one is Facebook. Well, you're wrong. Number one for me is having a perfected Google business profile to be found immediately when you do a Google search. Okay, that Google is the million-pound gorilla. Now it's no longer the 800-pound gorilla; it's the million-pound gorilla. You don't Yahoo something when you look something up. You Google something. So don't you think your Google business profile should be strong? Don't you think your analytics should be there? Shouldn't you consider Google AdWords a small light campaign, consistent, continuous? It's almost like religion. Whatever religion you follow, you don't follow it just on Sundays or Saturdays or Fridays. You follow it every day. Whatever church you follow, your church is where you're sitting. It's not where you go to on a Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. All that is bullshit. That's just for the people that are just, trying to make up the difference during the week. Okay. Be consistent. I learned that. Where I learned that? Those 2 C's, most unusual place. I was invited to the Brooklyn Tabernacle when I was a young man. I think I was like, I don't know, 20, 21 years old. And the pastor said the most important 2 C's in your life is consistency and continuity. It had nothing to do with religion, but it does have to do, we're in a spiritual experience in our life, right? And social media should be part of that, right? So Google is your base. And then what do you think the number 2 is? Still ain't Facebook. Sorry, guys. It's LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of your most important platforms. Why? It's your resume. It's who you are in business as a professional. Perfect your LinkedIn profile. Even hire somebody. I actually hired somebody, I think it's about 7 or 8 years ago. She is fantastic. Bryn Tillman. You could find her online. Brilliant LinkedIn specialist. I love her. She's just big heart of gold. And it was the best investment I ever made. And I mean, once she helped me perfect my LinkedIn, I was able to just work from the perfection that she created. And it's consistent. You can find my contact information, my phone number, my email. I'm not that I'm easy find, but I'm definitely easy to email or contact from a text or call or email. And my response time is correct. So people say, "Oh, you got so many emails." I don't know, but my email on my LinkedIn's been the same forever. So I don't know what you're talking about. That's okay. You can say whatever makes you feel good to say, whatever you got to say. God bless you. I just kind of like zip my lip and just let people talk. Oh, you've been on 3 different companies, blah 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 blah. Okay, so but my email's been the same, right? My phone number's never changed, right? Well, yeah, okay. So you called me, right? So you called me to tell me I've been at 3 different companies, but I answered the phone on the first ring. So which one do you want me to hang up and call you back, or what do you want to do? Let's get to the point, kid. Okay. So LinkedIn is very important. Google LinkedIn. Next is Facebook. Take that LinkedIn content, take that Google business profile content, and transpose that into your Facebook content. Then build out that Facebook business page or business pages, depending on different venues or what you're involved with. Then I would also, again, when you set up Google and you set up Facebook, you automatically need to sign up. You sign up with the Instagram because Facebook owns Instagram, and guess what Google owns? YouTube. So you automatically set up a video piece to your business profile. So everything's kind of interconnected. They all own one another. And then there's other small social media sites that you need to tie into. Everybody has their preference. But this is to create an Excel spreadsheet and put all your information on it, because eventually when it becomes, I guess, what in your world, if you're in your mind, it might be overwhelming, but to a social media strategist, they need to know where you're at. They need to know where your profile links are. They need to know your where those sites are, and they probably are going to need your username and password. If you need to hire a social media strategist, it's a lot easier for them to look on a spreadsheet of all the sites you're on or you think you're on. So if you're not on too many, this is the time that you need to do a social media audit on yourself and document on a spreadsheet your profile link, the name of the website where you're on, the username and password. So when you're ready to hire or retain a social media strategist or marketer, you could just hand them that spreadsheet and then allow them to grow that out and go from there. Good morning, Justin. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, mastering social media as a real estate professional.
Morning, Joe. Good morning, Joe. Man, I got to that buzzer right on time. This man, it's a great show. You formula for that, Joe. I think if people just follow that formula of keeping a uniform identity, right, being consistent and communicating with folks, as people reach out to them, and then just being honest about the level of experience they have with the material. I think it needs to the content and the material needs to relate to who you are, and it needs to be building right as to where you want to go. So these are things I kept in mind. I keep in mind. I'm just kind of I gotta kind of keep it discreet about why I'm waiting. Another month or so to completely. And when I say completely, I mean start from scratch.
Coming in and out, Justin.
What? Oh, am I back?
You're back.
Okay, yeah. So all of my social media, I want to connect to one there. There's a site or two, one, and I've actually begun to rough draft like a total image of how it's supposed to go together, all of the page, everything, right? And I want to just start fresh and do it like that going forward. I think the world is shifted. Yeah, I've been around through the internet stages and grown through that, but I do feel like it's time for a rebirthing as I present myself to the world. No pun intended. That's the name of my brokerage. So, yeah, Joe, definitely. I think it's important. It's the only thing people have to identify you by, unless they have professional experience with you. And a lot of times they won't even get to that point if you don't have the right presentation. So, and that's from real life experience. So, those are my opinion on that.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you. And you know what? Justin's consistent and continuous. He's here every Saturday and Sunday giving back. He's also getting something when he walks away. I feel this is a very unscripted podcast, by the way, and like it comes right off the cuff. This is not scripted podcast. The subject's scripted, but this is really good organic stuff. And you have to take this into account in being effective in your social media strategies and optimizing your social media profiles and what you're putting out in a consistent manner. Okay. Yeah, and high quality real estate content is important. You need to break barriers in what you're doing. You got to get to be a little uncomfortable. Like some of the subjects that we tackle, I'm not telling you I'm an absolute expert, but I'm tackling them because I think they're relevant for research and relate to real estate in one piece or another. And sharing also success stories, not beating your chest like a gorilla, but sharing success stories in a nice, passionate way, or recognizing somebody and thanking them and taking the time personally is a very emotional and very personal thing. And I think some sites have gotten away from that. They're not as personal. I think they've gotten where you're looking through a shower drape. And I know Stephanie wants to discuss Bigger Pockets, and that's a site used to be I felt one of the most powerful real estate sites out there. And I still think it has a necessity, but it's changing, it's evolving a little bit. I do think it's a site that you want to be on, but I think you need to be a little more cautious to maybe some of the commentaries now. I do like David Green. He's definitely not Justin Turner, but I definitely like his approach. I know he's former, I think he's former law enforcement, but he's a straight shooter, no bullshit. And I met him down in Bigger Pockets. I did enjoy that event. It's a very well orchestrated convention, but you got 3,000 people there, so it's almost like drinking from a fire hose. But Stephanie, be nice, be nice, but thoughts to Bigger Pockets and how it relates back to you as a real estate professional, because you're not just a real estate agent, you're a general contractor, you're an investor, you're an influencer in your market. So some thoughts to Bigger Pockets as an ad as a real estate professional.
Yeah, okay. I was going to ask if you wanted to drop a referral link or if I could. I didn't want to.
No, go ahead. I mean, you can put it in the comment.
Yeah, there we go. So I think this will make it so that you're automatically friends with me. Bigger Pockets, if you guys are not on there, the soapbox is a good one, Joe.
Yeah.
I am terrible with social media. I need to get my Facebook going. I need to get my Instagram going. I've been ignoring LinkedIn for a long time. I have put 110% of my prospecting and social media effort into Bigger Pockets. Now, I got to say, I don't listen to their podcasts and I don't buy their books. So I have no idea what they're preaching these days. But this has been the most powerful platform for me by far. 4 years ago, and I've been on the platform for about 10 years now. So Bigger Pockets for me has completely created and shaped my career. So if you're not familiar, you need to get on there. I dropped my referral link, and this is it's whatever. I don't even know if it gives me a credit or what, but it'll make it so that I'm connected with you. So that's in the chat. This is basically forums. It's kind of like Reddit, but strictly for real estate. And they have paid levels. You don't need to do the paid levels. The way I use Bigger Pockets is for 10 years, I was just heavily involved in the forums, and I set up keyword alerts. So anytime someone mentioned Binghamton, New York, Ithaca, New York, Syracuse, New York, first time flipper, these kinds of phrases, I set up keyword alerts. So I would get an email anytime somebody posted about those topics. And it was really broad at first. I did like new investor, BRRRR strategy, right? So I've had to hone in since then. But anytime I would just jump into the conversation immediately. The second I got the email, I would go straight to the forum and respond. And I'm not just responding with, hey, I'm Stephanie, I'm with this brokerage, hire me. I'm responding with, these are my favorite property managers. These are my favorite lenders. Here are the things to watch out for. Binghamton, New York just rezoned everything. So here are the resources and the link for their rezoning. I'm giving a ton of information, right? And what I got, because the people who just put who they are just get ignored. If you're putting quality content on there, I have gotten thousands and thousands of calls over 10 years from the posts I've put on Bigger Pockets. And the last 4 years ago, Bigger Pockets called me and they said, hey, we're doing a pilot program for featured agents, which means, and they called me, which was so flattering. And they said, we see you're really active in the forums. You've got a lot of followers. You're getting a lot of content. At that time, I was a premium subscriber. So they were like, we want to make you our pilot agent in Albany, which means that anyone in Albany who's on Bigger Pockets, they'll see a little advertisement for you. And they said it'll cost you $1,200 and 25 leads will come through. I said, well, I don't cover Albany, but these are the markets I do cover. Could I be a featured agent there? They said yes. So I was one of their first agents in the country to become a featured agent. And I will tell you, I have had so many leads through Bigger Pockets that I actually have had to turn it off multiple times. And they'll let you do that. They'll let you pause it. I go through 25 leads in about a month. And these are people who've been pre-qualified, vetted. They tell you what they're looking for. They tell you what their budget is. I actually had to hire 2 people to handle my Bigger Pockets leads. The best lead I ever got from Bigger Pockets was about a month and a half ago. A guy got connected to me through Bigger Pockets. And I said, I'm chatting with him. He's telling me what he's looking for. I'm like, yeah, okay. Because you just get a lot of people. I said, send me your proof of funds. This guy sends me proof of funds for 10 million. Turns out now we're doing the biggest multifamily deal in Syracuse in the past 5 years. And he didn't look for any other agents. He didn't hold on, buddy. He didn't interview anybody else. He was sent to me through Bigger Pockets and that's it. He hired me. We did 3 showings. We did the deal. Boom, $80,000 commission. Hands down, the best resource to put time into. So I'll get to the other stuff, but I wanted to make sure that we talked about Bigger Pockets because it's just such an amazing thing to get involved with.
Well, it's funny, Steph. I've been following New York State heavily, as you know, and I see some massive opportunity in Ithaca, North Syracuse, obviously Syracuse, because jobs are moving there. I like Albany a lot because the cash flow. Buffalo is on my radar and Rochester is on my radar. I mean, these are, you would say, oh my God, New York State, were you crazy? New York, the law, I'm telling you, these are places where you need to keep an eye out if you're going to play investor because they have all the elements of perfection for the out-of-state landlord. They have the management presence, they have the GC presence, they have the real estate presence. The numbers work. Okay. And a lot of this is on social media. It's to her advantage. She's leveraging that. She's leveraging 10,000 jobs. I think it's 10,000, 5 to 10,000 jobs coming to Ithaca. 5 to 10,000 jobs are coming to Syracuse. Okay, and Binghamton's playing a little catch up, but that's good. You need that. Okay, you need to kick somebody in the ass and give them a reality check that they're falling behind some other neighboring cities in the corridor. So I think there's a unique opportunity there. Rochester's always been a very good market to me. I always have found and seen, great opportunities up there. And that's from social media investigation. That's also from data that I get from my social media. And this is another thing. When I teach CE in the state of New York, in New York State, it's a much different discussion with that real estate agent when I'm teaching that asset-based lending course than teaching it in the city. You could see the difference in the eye of the agent because a lot of those agents are investors as well. So when I teach that CE course, I'm not trying to attract agents to be in my stable. I'm also looking to because I'm not recruiting when I teach the course because I actually neutralize my licenses. I'm now in referral at a neutralized environment. So I'm not in a recruiting component. If you want to hold the class to recruit, that's your agenda and that's your brand and what you're doing, and it makes a lot of sense to me. But what I'm seeing is the investor agent, the agent that is also an investor, coming to to that accreditation course for the betterment of them understanding how they can grow in their market, because they're not depending upon the investor anymore. Because the competition right now, I find in a lot of those markets, the realtors are identifying the deals for themselves. Why waste time with, 20 make-believe buyers? I mean, now I have found BiggerPockets, as an example, a little too green for me for the inquiry, and that's fine, because I'm a broader net, where Stephanie is in a much more strategic market where you need to have proof of funds, you need to have understand DSCR, you need to understand construction and after repair value and all that, or you're not going to do very well up there long term. So these are very important factors from a social media perspective, because Stephanie gets one of these clients, she could easily look them up on LinkedIn. I mean, as you're calling me and I get your full name, I'm looking you up on LinkedIn. I'm also looking you up on Facebook to see what you're saying and what you're doing. I'm looking at character. Do I want to be surrounded by you and go to battle for you if your character is non-integrous? I'm going to be very concerned. I have a lot of conversations after background checks. Believe me, more than you would believe in the investment space. And it's okay. I'm not Dr. Phil, but I'm here to understand why this is on your background, right? I'm not here to critique it or be constructive. I just need to understand it. Because do I want to have your loan in my stable with whatever comes up on your background as well? So the same for your social media and your branding. You need to have a social media individual that has VA connections and services and understanding graphic work and small website design to be the better real estate professional. It's extremely important. So like when we started here in Clubhouse, I never realized it was going to roll out all this other layers to the Creative Birth Strategy, name, right? So when I go into an event, I'm not just a direct private lender. I'm not just a licensed real estate agent. I'm not just a CE instructor. I'm also a podcaster, providing insight and strategy in the real estate industry. That's my 30-second why and who I am. I'm an investor. I understand what you've gone through. I've made mistakes like that. Yes, I get it. I've made successes like that. I get it. I draw relevance from my own personal history over the last 30 plus years. I don't want to appear like a dinosaur in the industry. I want to always identify opportunities and be abreast of the market. You want to be like that too in the social media realm. It's extremely important. You want to draw relevance to what that person you're meeting in person and bring it back into the social media realm and nurture that. Your social media platform is a garden, and what you feed it will provide growth or it will provide nothing. You pick your palette, right? You pick what direction you want that social media garden to look like at the end of the day. That's important. It's a garden. You need to know how to feed it. You need to know how to provide it. Like I had a lot of pictures. Like pictures are very important. Like I get a kick out of some people that are Photoshop their pictures where you meet them, I don't know who they are. I'm like that's. I'm like I need to take a double take. I'm like, have I met you before? Oh yeah, we're connected on LinkedIn or Facebook. I'm like, okay. I can tell you that picture I have on here is no more than 90 days old. I paid $300 for 5 really good professional pictures. The only thing they didn't do for me, they didn't make me taller. But hey, what are you going to do? So, but again, those pictures are consistent. I want people, when they see me walk in the door, hey, you're Joe Scarice. Hey, how are you? Oh, I met you a year ago. Oh, great. Thank you for recognizing me. I'm not really good with face recognition all the time, and because I meet so many people per week. But hey, what did we talk about last time? Let's get into it. How's life? Everything good? If we're at an event, I try to get something from you, and then I try to make an introduction to somebody else about that to draw relevance. not to hand you off, but to kind of help you build your network as well. And that's the same thing you need to do in social media. Yardell, your final thoughts in our discussion, mastering social media as a real estate professional.
Yeah, so the last thought I just want to make very quickly, I know we're getting to the hour mark, is to just further codify something Steph said in her story, which is to say that your social media presence is more about the social than the media. And different people are social in different ways. And as Joe mentioned, there's a handful of ones as a foundation you're going to want regardless. You're going to want your Google page. You're going to want your Instagram. You're going to want your Facebook, all those. Chances are those will help anyone no matter what. Past that, if there are platforms apart from those that you're more comfortable with and that you feel like you can swim in more easily, you stick to those. I was talking to someone a few months ago at an event, and she was a realtor. She has all those social media platforms. She was on a pause, again, as Steph said she was, because she needed to turn off her social medias. Her two social medias that she's using, they're TikTok and Snapchat. Those are ones she likes. Those are ones she's comfortable with. She's running real estate on those all day. And she said, listen, she had to turn those off because she needed to sort through the leads she already had. So similar to what Stephanie said, she's more comfortable in bigger pockets. She had to turn hers off. So I just want to leave that to say, try not to get too hung up on a specific platform or group of platforms. Yeah, you want the foundation that Joe mentioned, but don't think that the foundation has to be the house and you can't add any other rooms to it or just have something else. And thanks for having me. That's all I got.
Thanks, Yardell. You know, and if whatever site you want to focus on, burrow that hole. But let me tell you something, you better be good with your follow-up skills and your contact skills. You need to make sure you're a good communicator or you will drop like a rock. Your reputation of brand will go down. So it's very important. So let's get some final thoughts briefly from our moderators this morning. Justin, your final thoughts in regards to mastering social media as a real estate professional.
Yeah, like I said, man, you know, it's consistency is key, man. What they see is what they're gonna make their decisions based off of. So get yourself a plan together. There's been some really good information provided here today, and go ahead and execute it and watch the results. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Justin. Melissa, your final thoughts in mastering social media as a real estate professional.
I would actually just give you guys a final hack. If you are using a password manager and you have all that information for most of your social media sites already, and you should be able to download some kind of Excel spreadsheet from that if you were interested in picking up a media plan. So check into it if that's what you guys want to do. Thanks.
Thank you. Steph, your final thoughts in regards to mastering social media as a real estate professional.
This was awesome. I got a bunch of really good tips and I appreciate it. Your rooms are always helpful, Joe.
Thank you, Stephanie. And my final thoughts to this discussion this morning is be present. You know, be consistent, be continuous, be passionate, be intellectual, be educational. Don't be confrontational. Nobody cares about your personal opinion. They care about who you are and what you do in your profession on your social media profiles. You know, if you don't have a job and you're retired and you don't really give a rat's ass, hey, God bless, go do what you got to do. But till that day comes, you are a professional in your field and you need to act accordingly. And what you put out is what you attract. Karma is real. There is no good or bad luck. It is absolute karma. You surround yourself with the right people, you attract the right people. And going to certain type of events more than others you can almost feel the vibe of what your return on your time and investment is. It's the same thing with social media. I want to thank our sponsors, Lenmark Capital, Percatech, guest speaker here today is Yardell Perkins, MB Capital, and Realty 411. And we'll be back here tomorrow morning, and we're here every Saturday and Sunday, 8 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. on Sundays, 8 a.m. here on Saturdays. I'm thinking about adding a Sunday evening wrap up to the week. I'm kind of thinking about it, because I have to, if I commit to it, it's got to be consistent again. So the commitment is everything. So I want to make sure I have a commitment, time, and allocation, and I try to keep these to 60 minutes on average. And I always provide a quote to think about every time we have a discussion. So my quote this morning is, "Being poor is only romantic in books," written by Sidney Sheldon. Everybody have a blessed Saturday morning. Take care of yourself. Be well. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. And I will be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. Thank you.